where it can comply with various legal conditions, right? And once again, the very big difference here is that if you want the capital in places like JP Morgan, in places like UBS, in places like SBI to flow into our industry, they have to flow in under the level of compliance that they require, because otherwise they legally cannot transact with things in our industry. And so this problem fundamentally has to be solved for our industry to go to the next stage. It's just an inescapable fact of life that people in the capital markets all completely understand and people outside don't fully know because they don't deal with these problems. But I can assure you that without solving this problem, our industry will be unlikely to grow past that $10 trillion mark. And so it fundamentally has to be solved. Now, our way of solving this problem extends to the asset side and it extends to the payment side. And it then coordinates the asset side of a transaction and the payment side of a transaction to interact with each other in a compliant way, right? So you make a tokenized fund, the tokenized fund goes on chain, the tokenized fund receives various pieces of data, the tokenized fund is connected to various chains, and there's different forms of payment on those chains, or there's different chains where you can properly interact with a payment system like Connexus from JP Morgan. But you need that interaction to be compliant in order for that transaction to happen, in order for that capital to flow. So you need more assets on chain that work properly and in a compliant way. You need more payment solutions connected to chains. And then you need all of that to happen in this way where transactions are legally allowed to happen from these large institutions. So this is, once again, the fundamental problem. One problem is the compliance layer, but there's actually another problem. The second problem is how do you orchestrate, how do you coordinate all of these transactions where you have an asset over here and you have a payment over there, right? So let's say you've created a compliant form of payment, like a stable coin or a payment chain, and you have a compliant asset on another chain. How do those two things interact with each other? How do you make them actually transact between each other so that the transaction happens? That's where our work on the Chainlink runtime environment, I think, is going to take the industry to the next level. So just like the Ethereum virtual machine took the complexity of building smart contracts on public chains and simplified it down to a single language Solidity where you could write contracts, there needs to be a place where you can write down all of the complexity that I just described. You need to be able to define all of this complexity around interacting with data sets, interacting with identity, interacting with existing systems, interacting with other chains. And you need to be able to define it in a way that it complies with all of your requirements and all the requirements of the counterparty in order for this transaction to work. So that's what we've built with the Chainlink runtime environment. It's the place where you can basically take various capabilities. You can take the ability to connect to a payment system. You can take the ability to connect to a data system. You can take the ability to connect to a chain. You can take the ability to connect to an identity system. And then you can synchronize all that with one piece of code. And that one piece of code will successfully run and operate that transaction for you. All of these capabilities can be basically broken down into three groups: a trigger, an action, and a target outcome or a target chain. The trigger could be something from an API, some piece of data, or the transaction being triggered by one of the counterparties. The action could be to store some data, to check something, to compute parts of the transaction, to check something on a chain against an off-chain system. And then the target will be usually writing something on a chain, right? So concluding the transaction on a chain, because you're not concluding transactions in off-chain systems anymore. You're concluding them in chains. And then after concluding them in chains, you're synchronizing what happened in the chain back to the off-chain system, right? So that's what you're doing now. You're not doing transactions anymore really in the off-chain traditional financial world. You're using that as a layer to interact with the public blockchain or the private blockchain, or basically the Web3 financial system and ecosystem. Our model for this is basically to have a trigger that creates an action within the CRE system, and then an output from that action. Now, just to be very clear, this is something that many different providers can build on top of. So different custody providers, different tokenization platforms. This is a low-level virtual machine that can process all of this across all of the off-chain systems and all of the on-chain systems, and basically give you a single place to write the code to define this transaction. Because the EVM world or the public blockchain, whatever chain you want world, that chain, that world can only write about the things in its chain. It can't write about the things happening outside of the chain, and it can't define what's going to happen between chains. So something has to define all of those interactions. And all of that logic and all of those interactions have to be placed somewhere. And so that is what we've built now with CRE, the Chainlink Runtime Environment. The Chainlink Runtime Environment basically gives you all of the capabilities that Chainlink has and even other systems have, allows you to combine it into what we call a workflow. A workflow is basically the piece of code that defines all the steps. In this case, you have a cross-chain liquidity balancing workflow where you're balancing liquidity across two chains. And you're doing that against a set of conditions that are held partly in the contracts and partly in the Chainlink runtime environment.
Yo, 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 what's going on? What's going on? What's going on, family? Welcome to the call. Appreciate y'all for tapping in and tuning in. Man, we don't got nobody on the Zoom this morning, so it's all good. We got a couple people, but there ain't really many people on the Zoom, but I see YouTube's numbers are growing, so keep on sharing this link out on YouTube. We're about to do a lot of shifts and changes anyway, and I think I'm about to kick a lot of people out my Discord group, whether they paid or not. I don't give a dang on, man. If you're not using it, we don't want you taking up space because we could be literally, like maybe if I delete them, they'll text me and be like, what happened? That's usually what happens when you kick people out. Then they text you finally. Somehow they notice it once you kick them out. They'd be like, hey, I noticed I ain't in the group no more. I'll be like, yeah, I noticed that you paid $100 for a lifetime and you don't use it no more. So, it really ain't no need for me to even keep you in here. You know what I mean? I appreciate the donation. You know what I mean? Appreciate the donation. All right. That's gonna be my answer when I start kicking people out of the Discord group and they ask me what happened. All right, that's why, because you wasn't showing up. I'm just being real. I'm just being transparent because, see, the good thing about this space is you really don't need a whole lot of people to make money. You really just need yourself. Hey, you don't need a whole lot of people to make a lot of money in crypto. You really just need yourself, and that's the good thing about this. You need you, right? Understand that, y'all. You need you. So the whole purpose is to show up, tap in, plug in. Some of this stuff goes a little bit over your head. Cool. Some of the stuff is right on. Cool. You're not going to understand everything, but hell, I don't understand everything, but I still share it and I still talk about it. And we're still here to do it because this is happening in real time. And it's better to cover it now than to wait 10 years down the road and then finally try to catch up and cover it, right? I really believe that, again, y'all, we are tracking this technology from start until scale, and this stuff is not that fun. You know what I mean? I'm just being honest. Studying about crypto and doing all that stuff, it ain't the most sexiest thing. You know what I mean? I know y'all see me, and you're like, man, this, hey, you see sexy, I understand that, all right? But just because you see sexy don't mean that this thing is sexy at all times. I don't know if y'all get what I'm saying right now, but let's go ahead and light it up one time and just let me know if y'all are tapping in and tuning in. I'm just trying to take a little, I'm trying to take a little time because we still got a minute before 10:10. If you all didn't know, this week is consensus, and I was not able to make it out to Canada, unfortunately. So I'm still here in the ATL, which is fine. I'm rocking my Stand with Crypto hat. In remembrance. I definitely wish I could have made it out to consensus, but things didn't line up the way that it needed to be out there, unfortunately. So we're going to cover some of the things that they're talking about at consensus here on the call. Just because I'm not there don't mean I ain't plugged in. You know what I'm saying? And that's the beautiful thing. And just because you aren't there doesn't mean you shouldn't be plugged in as well. So do me a favor and go ahead to the Discord group and just light it up one time. Let people know that we're starting right now. Tell them we're not starting now, but we're starting right now. There's a difference between now and right now. You know what I mean? And we starting at this very moment. So tell them, go ahead, tap the link, and tune in. All right. But with that being said, we're going to dive into a couple of things that I have here to share. Now, this video that you all saw was a snippet from Consensus 2025. This was Chainlink's Chainlink CEO, and Sergey Nazarov, excuse me. And it talked about Web3's path to $100 trillion, right? We've talked about this, right? Y'all, we are at a $3 trillion market cap, and we keep seeing this 100 trillion. Ro Paul talked about it. Brad Garlinghouse has talked about it. Plenty of CEOs have talked about it. And now Larry Fink has talked about it. Now we turn around and you got the CEO of Chainlink, which they have a brand new partnership that's absolutely out of this world. And we're finally getting the things that we've been talking about with these banks actually establishing. But before we dive into any investment, it is my duty to let you all know that Coffee and Crypto Network and Coffee and Crypto Podcast is not a financial advice show. So we do not offer financial advice outside of this just being entertainment. We are here to entertain you. I'm here to entertain you. My guests are here to entertain you, to show you and to educate you about the future and what we believe to be true. Just because we believe it and we get on here and talk about it does not make it so. So before you get into any investment opportunity, any type of investment vehicle, make sure that you all go and do your own research and connect with a financial advisor, or at least a professional that's been in the space for a while that you believe can help you get there. I like to call them blockchain strategists. And here at Coffee and Crypto, we have blockchain strategists here available. We have 3 blockchain strategists at this very moment, and we're looking to expand our team. So if you're interested in doing what it is I do, writing books, creating podcasts, creating content, being able to sell products, you don't even got to start out with your own products, because we have a full list of master classes, boot camps, books, and everything else that you could think of. We have it here at Coffee and Crypto ready for you all to plug in. So with that being said, if you're interested in joining our team, if you're interested in being a part of our blockchain strategist program, we are launching that right now. Not now, okay, but we're launching it right now. So if you're interested and you want more information on our blockchain strategist program, you can text me at this phone number right here, and I'm going to give it to you. And all you got to do is text the word strategy. Okay, if you're interested, text me the word strategy to 678 area code 460-6504. Okay, again, the number is 678-460-6504. I have successfully been a digital entrepreneur for the last 8 years. Okay, I have not really had to go and work many jobs outside of doing this, right? There has been times that has been tough. I'm just being real with y'all, right? And that's just life, right? When you're an entrepreneur, but I have been very successful. We have the track record to prove it. We've successfully helped thousands of people around the world, and we're on our way to hundreds of thousands and millions of people. And we would love for you, if you're interested in doing the exact same thing, okay, that I do. I can train you, and I will also pay you. This is a paid gig, okay? 678-460-6504. You text the number strategy, and we will get you in our blockchain strategist program to get you up to par so that you can do exactly what we do. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive into today's bullish content. So right now, we are sitting at a 71 greed index, family. We're sitting at a 71 greed index. What does this mean? This means that you all watched us sit in fear. How many people remember just a couple weeks ago we were sitting in fear? I'm going to turn my hat backwards a little bit for y'all. Yeah, I'm going to turn my hat backwards. How many of y'all remember, okay, just a couple weeks ago, we were just in the red. We were just, the greed was real. Right, excuse me, the fear was real. We were telling you all these were the times to buy, these were the time to purchase, and we were well under 2 trillion. We were well under 3 trillion. We were at like 2.7, 2.8 trillion. Right now, we're sitting at a $3.3 trillion market cap. This is a perfect example that if you don't make moves soon, right? If you don't make the move soon, the move will make the move without you, right? Regardless, whether you decide to jump on this ship, jump on this boat, jump on this ark, whatever, until you decide to, this market is going to leave you, right? It will leave you behind. It waits for nobody, right? The same way time waits for nobody, these markets, they don't wait for anybody. They're not here for you to make up your mind when you wake up one day and decide that your situation is so tough that you finally want a solution. You should have been finding a solution before your situation got tough. See, a lot of people, they don't think about going to the physician. They don't think about going to the doctor for intervention. You know, you have to go and intervene. You have to go for intervention. You have to go in for an interventional checkup. You got to go and just check up yourself. You got to go and get a checkup, right? Right now, you need to check up on your life. And you need to decide, is my life where I want it to be financially? Is it where I want it to be in relationship? Is it where I want it to be in my job, in my business? If your answer is no to any of those, okay, and especially if your answer is no in all those areas, which is a couple of y'all, your answer is no in all of those areas, then you need to really figure out what is the next step for you. What is the vehicle that is going to help you go to the next level? For me, I chose digital assets and cryptocurrency and being a digital entrepreneur, scaling my business online. That's what I chose. You can choose whatever it is, but you better wake up and smell the coffee, right? Pun intended. You better wake up and smell the coffee, because there will be a time where either you're going to regret not taking advantage of this, or you're going to regret not taking advantage of it enough. There's only two sides. You're either going to regret not taking advantage of this space at all once I'm rich and once all my friends are rich, my new friends, because my old friends don't invest in crypto. Okay, it's all good. Okay, new friends are needed. Don't listen, I don't care. New friends are needed. I'm always down to make new friends, right? I grew up an only child. I'm used to going from, having to be like, okay, my mom, who was a single mom at the time, she was like, hey, look, we're going to have to move over here. And guess what we had to do? We had to make do, and we had to move. And sometimes that move took you to a new school. And at that new school, if you had to be cool enough to make new friends, I'm cool enough to make new friends. I don't want nobody around me that's not investing. It don't got to be crypto, but it need to be something. Real estate, stocks, time in business, anything. You need to be investing into your craft. If you are not becoming crafty, if you are not investing, I don't want nothing to do with you. And I'm just being real with you. That's from the woman I talk to all the way to Timbuktu. I don't care who it is. I'm telling you right now, if you are not investing into something, especially yourself, right? If you're not investing into you, I know you're not going to invest into me. Let's dive into this bullish content, family. I hope y'all sipping a little coffee this morning, because it's about to get extremely hot. Bitcoin is sitting at $102,000. So we're back at that level of resistance. And when I talk about that, that level of support. And when we talk about that level of support, okay, I've been tracking, but we're right here at this level of support. So we broke above this resistance, turned it into support, went up, touched this level. Okay. And then guess what we did? We came back down and we retest this same 101,000. And now we're back up about $1,000. We're back up or less. We're back up on this market. Okay. So we've now entered our consolidation zone for Bitcoin between 105 and 101. Okay. So right now we are consolidating in this zone. What I'm waiting to do is to see if we end up getting a breakout above 105, because our highest level of all time so far is 109,306. Okay, so we are trying to see, will we end up breaking above that 109,306? And we're really not that far. However, there is a lot of resistance at this 105,803-ish area. There's a lot of resistance there. So, just make sure that you all are, if you are trading or you're doing any type of leveraging in this market, or even if you're looking for a good entry position to get into Bitcoin or some of these altcoins, right? You want to make sure that you look at these charts, position yourself. And if you don't understand how to read the charts, We have a Discord group. I'm actually remodeling the Discord group, and I'm looking forward to talking about that at the end of the show. I know that y'all have been with me as we've been remodeling this thing, and I told you all I'm going to continue to remodel the Discord group until I feel like we've gotten it right. No, it cannot stay the same, right? I'm not a fool. I'm getting better with time. I'm learning things. I'm learning how to leverage certain systems, and I'm only getting better. So if you're in the Discord group today, stay in, stay plugged in. I promise you it will be worth it, right? This is my life on the line, all right? And also, if you're not in our Discord group, but you're interested, we are giving away still a free 7 days. That 7 days will be lowering to 3 days very soon. So I will be offering 3 days instead of 7 very soon, but we will talk about that at the end of this show. So if you're not in our Discord group, stick around to the end, and I will talk to you about what we have that's launching here very soon for you to also be a part of this. Okay, but with that being said, I want to go ahead and dive into the first video that I have. Now, Coinbase 3 hours ago posted a post, okay, a blog post, and what Coinbase said was cyber criminals have bribed and recruited rogue overseas support agents to pull personal data on greater than 1% of coin, less than 1% of Coinbase MTUs. Okay, no passwords, private keys, or funds were exposed. So when we told y'all to get your crypto off the exchanges, not your keys, not your crypto, well, guess what? Prime accounts are untouched. We will reimburse impacted customers. More here. Now, the question is, why can Coinbase reimburse these customers? Well, number one, they're the number one exchange damn near in the world, specifically in the United States. But then number two, Coinbase is now being pushed onto the S&P 500. So what do you think is going to happen? More scammers are going to go after this site because they know now people are going to be invested if they're not already into Coinbase, right? Because they're going in the S&P. Anytime you got like you got motion, people want to take that from you. Understand that. Nobody wants to see you have motion, right? Nobody wants to see you have the type of motion that you're going to have in your life. People are going to try to take it from you. But guess what? There are ways around this. And Brian Armstrong has sent out, the CEO of Coinbase and co-founder, has sent out a PSA. Pay attention.
Hey, everyone. I want to make you aware of a disturbing email that we received recently at Coinbase. It was a ransom note demanding $20 million in Bitcoin in exchange for these attackers not releasing some information they claim to have obtained on our customers. Now, we like to do things transparently here at Coinbase, and so I'm going to respond publicly to these attackers by saying, no, we are not going to pay your ransom. In fact, I have a few next steps in mind that I'm going to share at the end of this video. But for the rest of you watching, wondering what happened, we did an investigation here, and these attackers have been approaching our overseas customer support agents, looking for a weak link, someone who would accept a bribe in exchange for sharing some customer information with them. Now, our support tools have limited access to customer information. There was no passwords or private keys or funds accessed as part of this. But customer support agents do have access to personal information like name, date of birth, address, etc. And attackers still want access to this information because it allows them to conduct social engineering attacks where they can call our customers, impersonating Coinbase customer support, and try to trick them into sending their funds to the attacker. Now, unfortunately, they were able to find a few bad apples. Our systems are designed to mitigate the impact of something like this. So less than 1% of our monthly transacting users had their records accessed, but this is still unacceptable. And I want to tell you what we're doing about it. So first, any customers that were socially engineered as a result of this incident, we're going to reimburse them. There's more details on our website, on our blog post about the reimbursement process. You can read more there. Any customers who have been impacted by this or have been notified at this point. Number two, we're hardening our systems around customer support to make something like this much more difficult in the future. And third, we're actually relocating some of our customer support operations as a result of this. But the last step is maybe the most important, which is that instead of paying this $20 million ransom, we're turning it around. And we're putting out a $20 million award for any information leading to the arrest and conviction of these attackers.
Hold on. Say what?
For these would-be extortionists or anyone seeking to harm Coinbase customers, know that we will prosecute you and bring you to justice.
So y'all trying to turn, VO into a bounty hunter, I see. Okay. John, hey, we got a job to do because they try to turn us into a bounty hunter. 20 million? Man, I'll spend the rest of my life looking for these folks. You hear me? Hey, listen. Hey, what our boy Leah Nelson said on what's that movie? Or Taken? He said, I have a set of very special skills that you don't want to know about. He said, you better turn my daughter back in, dog. Or listen, I'm about to unleash these skills on you right now. Okay? Hey, I got skills. Hey, my boy, hey, Donovan, funny. Hey, my boy Donovan is hilarious. Hey, Donovan. Hey, listen, bro. Let's do it, bro. Why you say? Hey, y'all leave me alone, man. Y'all be sending me text messages like, y'all crazy. My boy Donovan said, we're about to get to work, man. You hear me? So listen, if you got any type of cybersecurity experience, we hiring here at Coffee and Crypto. We got a $20 million bounty to go out and get. Okay? Okay? And listen, and listen, I'm gonna get 8, okay? I'm gonna get 9. Okay, we're gonna give somebody, I'm gonna give somebody else 9. And then whoever got a lot to say, listen, you get whatever's left over. You get whatever left over because you've been tripping the whole ride anyway, okay? So whatever haters, listen, I'm gonna split it with my dog, Donovan, and then you can get whatever left over, okay? Because you just been hating, okay? Now that's from the movie. I don't know if y'all ever seen that movie, but that's from the movie Money Talk with my boy Chris Tucker, okay? My boy, right. Hey, we about to be out here, man. The crypto bounty boys for sure. Okay, but it just shows you, okay, just all jokes aside, let's get back on track. But it really does just show you, how serious this space is right now and how the stuff that we've been telling you all about. Self-custody is the best custody. Okay, we're about to see all types of custody solutions and everything like that. And I want to tell y'all right now, there's a lot of people that's going to get scammed from fake custody solutions. We haven't heard about it yet. It's not on mainstream, but I'm telling you, it makes sense because I can fake to be a custodian provider. I can put up a website through AI right now, vibe code it out right now, create the website, and literally have people thinking that they could custody their crypto, give them some fake keys that they are going to keep, and then out of nowhere, guess what? Wipe out their whole account. These things are going to happen. You need to be in the know. And this is why I host these boot camps. Okay, now we're about halfway through the show right now, and I want to go over a document from the White House 2 days ago. Okay, President Donald J. Trump secures a historic $600 billion with a B dollar investment commitment in Saudi Arabia. Now, we're going to break this down and talk about how interesting this is, okay, in all aspects of not just the United States being lit, but also how lit this is and how dope this is for the digital asset and cryptocurrency space as a whole, and how we're about to move forward as a community. Pay attention. Today in Saudi Arabia, or 2 days ago, President Donald J. Trump announced $600 billion commitment from Saudi Arabia, investing into the United States, building economic ties that will endure for generations to come. The first deals under the announcement strengthening of our energy security, defense industry, technology leadership, and access to global infrastructure and critical minerals. The deals celebrated today are historic, okay, and transformative for both countries. This is the golden era of partnership, okay? So Saudi Arabian Data Vault is moving forward with plans to invest 20 billion in AI data centers and energy infrastructure in the United States. So you want to know where the money is? If you are a creator, a CEO, somebody that got some money to invest into something, real estate, land, it would make sense to get some of this $20 billion in AI data centers, right? I want to figure out how to do that. Okay, Google, DataVolt, Oracle, Salesforce, AMD, and Uber are committing to invest 80 billion in cutting-edge transformative technologies in both countries. Okay, you got iconic American companies like Heel International, Jacobs, Parsons, and AECOM. Okay, building key infrastructure projects like King Salman International Airport. Okay, the Vault, Qiddiya City, which is a smart city. Okay, additional major exports include GE Vernova's gas turbines and energy solutions totaling 14.2 billion, and Boeing passenger aircraft. We know that Boeing is a governing council member for Hedera. We also have investments into the healthcare sector, right? With this company right here, IV Solutions, investing $5.8 billion into a Michigan plant to launch a high-capacity IV fluid facility. What do you think they're going to use to make sure these IV fluids are seamless? Blockchain technology, right? So there's a lot of stuff, a lot of partnerships, a lot of stuff that's happening behind closed doors within this $600 billion. This is going to unlock new opportunities through this deeper alliance. And as you can see, it's just money on money on money. You did? Money on money, you did? Okay, but check this out though. Check this out. Check this out. This came out on May 14th, which was yesterday, right in the afternoon. So while you got the United States the day before, President Donald Trump out there in the UAE, shaking hands, kissing babies, and saluting military personnel from foreign countries. Now you got the president, Monica Long of Ripple, okay, which is to me a government entity, okay, meeting with UAE officials to discuss digital payment infrastructure and accelerating financial innovations. Hold on, I got to take a lap real quick. Good God. Good God. Let's go. Right? So we got one of our number one companies that we have had a heavy focus on since 2018, that we've had a heavy focus on to their entire ecosystem, that we've been purchasing and investing into different companies. And guess what, y'all? Hold on. Let me just give y'all, let me give y'all something real quick for the ones that don't know. Okay, because we just saw how much money being pushed into healthcare. Hold on, let's find it real quick. How much money being pushed into healthcare, y'all? Hold on. I'm about to do a full circle moment for you real quick. Hold on. 8.5 billion, no, excuse me, 5.8 billion, right? Going into a plant in Michigan for IV fluid. So that's just 5.8 billion. That's not even the entire thing that's going into healthcare and medical services. Well, guess what, y'all? If we go right here and we see, hold on, let me go back. Who's sitting right here with the Dubai FinTech Summit with their entire officials of the UAE? Okay, you got Ripple. Well, guess what? If we come over here, XRP Healthcare, right? XRP Healthcare is an AI-driven, M&A-focused healthcare company operating worldwide with a focus on emerging markets. They already have a prescription savings card. They have all of this stuff. 68,000 pharmacies already accepting the XRP healthcare app, right? You can download this app, put some XRP on here, some XRPH on here, and get to it. And guess where they are? Guess where they're just so conveniently located, right? Guess where they're so conveniently located? I got you right here, y'all. License number, Dubai. Dubai. Oh, ain't that the UAE? Oh, VO. Okay. I see what you did there. So do you not think it's fit to think if we're going to take a guesstimate that this is going to be a potential company that's going to lead in the space? And then you turn around and then, on March 13th, Ripple has secured a regulatory approval from the Dubai Financial Services Authority, making us the first blockchain payment provider licensed in the DIFC. This milestone unlocks fully regulated cross-border crypto payments in the UAE, bringing faster, cheaper, and more transparent transactions to a $40 billion plus market. This is real stuff that is already happening. And we're watching it all unfold right in front of our face. Man, light it up one time for yourself. Light it up for yourself. Because the next 5 to 10 years ain't going to look like these 5 to 10 years in the past that we just went through. Things are about to get better. They're about to get gooder. And you finna be extremely blessed. Not just by anybody, but you about to be blessed by the best. Now, last episode on Tuesday, we talked about how WonderFi is being acquired by Robinhood. And I talked about Kevin O'Leary. Well, guess what? They brought Kevin O'Leary on Fox to talk about just that, WonderFi, and the $179 million acquisition deal.
This is going to change the FX trading market forever.
Robinhood is buying the Canadian crypto firm WonderFi. Okay, tell us how much.
179 million, a 41% premium to the previous closing price.
Well, you know who the owner of this thing is.
Truly.
You've got a big piece of this, haven't you?
I was one of the founding shareholders of WonderFi. My investment thesis was own all of the exchanges in North America, including Coinbase, including Robinhood, and including WonderFi. They're unifying a cross-border crypto just before the stablecoin. This is going to change the FX trading market forever. It's going to be much more efficient when you can just move from your Canadian account to your U.S. account back and forth at a fraction of the cost that banks charge you. I'm so excited about this.
You're talking your own book.
You're darn right I am. And on this one, I'm saying yippee-i-o kaye chihuahua caramba. This is a great deal. This is going to change the FX.
Sheesh. So we got all these acquisitions that's happening, y'all. Don't worry. We're making our way through the show. Okay, stick with me now. YouTube is doing amazing. And do me a quick favor. While we got everybody on YouTube, smash that thumbs up button. Por favor. Por favor. Smash the thumbs up button. Por favor. Please, sir. Please, madam. Press the thumbs up button. Por favor. If you like the show. Thank you. Gracias. Okay. Now, back to regular scheduled programming. So the BIS came out with something yesterday. Okay, I told y'all everything here is hot off the press, fresh just like the coffee that y'all gonna be drinking from us real soon. Hey, leak, let me leak that real quick. Fresh like the coffee that y'all gonna be drinking from Coffee and Crypto on this show real soon. Right, real soon. Okay. I just want to leak that out there real quick. I'm gonna leak it. I'm gonna leak it today. Since they want to leak stuff, since Coinbase leaking, Coffee and Crypto gonna leak something too. Okay, y'all be prepared for that. Y'all be prepared for that. Now, real quick, the Bank for International Settlements has a project called Project Pine. That's going to be working on monetary policy implementation, possible in a tokenized world, right? Understand that everything right now is focused on what? Tokenization of assets, real world assets. So this was a joint study that was just produced yesterday, a joint study exploring feasibility of central bank operations using, again, tokenization and smart contracts. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York and the BIS today published a joint research, okay? And let's see right here. They found that central banks could customize and deploy policy implementation tools using programmable smart contracts in a potential future state where commercial banks and other private sector financial institutions have widely adopted tokenization for wholesale payments and security settlements. The toolkit, okay, this is a toolkit, okay, was created in consultation with central bank financial market advisors from multiple jurisdictions who helped outline the project scope and specific design requirements, okay? It's not particular to any currency or jurisdiction, so it is extremely interoperable, okay? So the prototype successfully responded and instantaneously carried out the intended operation under the varying market conditions consistent with the central bank's desired liquidity environment. Project Pine's findings, okay, highlighted areas for further research and analysis related to interoperability and data standardization. Project Pine aims to contribute to a broad and transparent public dialogue regarding potential applications of new technologies in the financial sectors. I know that was a mouthful, but I just need y'all to realize that this is happening, right? This is literally happening. This is a press release, came out yesterday, and we've seen all of the monetary shifts that's happening, and things are moving fast now. Things are moving faster than slower now. So you have to move faster in these times, okay? And just like that, announced yesterday as well. A lot of stuff has been announced as of the last couple of days, but let's talk about this one. JP Morgan now becomes the first bank ever in the United States, and we've been waiting for this type of announcement, but we thought it was going to be with Ripple. Unfortunately, that first announcement is not with Ripple, okay? And that's why I tell you all the time, you need to be diversified. You don't need to just own Ripple, in my opinion, or XRP. You don't need to just own Bitcoin. You don't need to just own HBAR. You don't need to just own Ondo or Chainlink, but you need to own all of them, because I believe that they're all going to serve some position, and you want to have a well-diversified portfolio, okay? Now pay attention. JP Morgan settled its first transaction on a public blockchain using Chainlink and Ondo Finance to move tokenized treasuries beyond its private network. So they're looking to move these tokenized treasuries beyond private networks. The reason why they do that is because institutions hold treasuries. They don't got to deal with the little man. They're getting things together before they move into the stock market. They're getting things together before they move into these other markets where there's more retail investors, because institutions, they can kind of work together and get things done. But if they mess things up with us, we're going to complain and make video content and put them on blast and try to cancel them and all these different things, right? And they don't like dealing with that. I know I wouldn't. I would deal with institutions first before I dealt with regular people if I were a big institution. And here's the reason why. The reason why I would do that, very simple. The reason why I would do that is very simple, because I don't want to deal with people, right? I necessarily, right? So understand, y'all. Okay, understand. Everything is interoperable, right? There's parts of Ondo Finance that are connected with other blockchain networks as well, right? Ripple being one of them, right? Chainlink being another one of them, right? You know, Ondo has their own stable coin. Ripple has a stable coin, and it's not just going to be one stable coin to rule them all, but it's going to be a multitude to bind them, okay? Now, let's continue to move forward. Thank you so much, Matt, for the information that you sent over. Appreciate that, brother. Now, with that being said, this is the CEO of Ondo Finance, the CEO of Ondo Finance, okay, right now, okay, and this guy is talking on stage. Okay, I want y'all to hear out what he has to say. Enjoy.
Or with Ondo Chain, we're trying to be this one-stop shop for real-world asset issuance, and we want to get beyond treasuries, get the payment leg on chain. I think plugging into, as Sergey said, the largest TradFi, distribution of the cash leg of the transaction, presents just like a huge marketplace for us to plug into. And yeah, I think there's no better way to start to break down those barriers between these worlds.
Nelly, obviously JP Morgan has its choice of kind of counterparties and people that they work with. How does JP Morgan think about Ondo Finance, right, in this transaction?
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of echo what Nathan said, we have strong alignment in our institutional focus and the desire to really bring real world assets on chain, which might be of interest to institutional clients. Working with Ondo kind of takes away a lot of the noise and confusion between crypto versus the blockchain application, which has been an ongoing discussion for many years. And it's just really nice to kind of work with a team that is truly focused on the institutional use cases that we are as well, and assets that'll be of interest to clients going forward.
So we're starting to see who the players are. Okay, we're starting to see who the select players are, right? And we have to pay attention to this. So again, y'all, JP Morgan Chase steps beyond walled garden to settle transactions on the public blockchain. This is all when Jamie Dimon used to have a position of this is a scam, Bitcoin won't work, crypto won't work. And look now, y'all, okay? They are out here pushing blockchain and certain platforms like Ondo and Chainlink. So, again, these might be some platforms for you to take a look at. I'm not telling you to invest into them, but these could be some good platforms for you to invest into. And so if y'all didn't know, the name of the platform that they call it is Kinexys, okay? Kinexys, okay? And that's going to be the platform between Kinexys, which is going to be the platform by JP Morgan between Chainlink and Ondo. And as you can see, this is like the official little commercial or whatever you want to call it, right? I don't know if we call it a commercial, but this is the official little thing right here. And look at that, the Omni-Chain Network for RWAs. Now, the Omni-Chain Network, okay, this is a new word that I need for you all to realize is becoming very big. And I'm very big on terminology, right? XDC. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention right here because I actually did not get to announce this one last week. So I'm going to go ahead and announce this now. So you see right here where it says Ondo Chain, the Omni-Chain Network for RWAs. So people say, well, what does Omni-Chain mean, right? Well, what does this mean? Let's look this up real quick as to what this means. So in the context of blockchain and crypto, omni-chain refers to a system where different blockchain networks are interconnected, allowing for communication and value transfer between them. It's essentially a unified layer that facilitates interoperability and reduce friction in cross-chain interactions, enabling applications to operate across multiple blockchains seamlessly. So, so you know how like right now, y'all, we're not able, and I just want to bring out a clear example. You're not able to send money from PayPal to Stripe or Stripe to Cash App, right? You're not able to do that. But once these apps have the API, the Omni-Chain API inserted into them, you will be able to do that stuff by moving digital assets like Bitcoin or XRP or Ethereum or Solana or whatever it's going to be. You'll be able to move those across chain, right? So that's what omni-chain means in regards to cryptocurrency. So now let's go ahead and go back over here because I have an announcement. XDC network is now omni-chain with Layer Zero's OFT standard. We're excited to share that the XDC token is now live as an omni-chain fundamental token, right? allowing for seamless movement. So y'all know how like, y'all know how like a lot of chains have like when you think about whenever you get something, you get the wrapped Bitcoin or you get the wrapped and it say WBTC or WETH or W Solana or W whatever, right? Okay, you have that wrapped version. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Anybody ever seen that before, right? So when you got this wrapped version of that particular token, right? It's not omni-chain. It's not an omni-chain token. Well, look at this right here. You can now movement of seamless assets across multiple blockchains without the need for wrapping or intermediaries. So it's becoming more easier for XDC to invite builders that want to focus on DeFi, tokenization, payment infrastructure to leverage the XDC interoperable architecture because it's very, very important. So if you've been locking in the XDC for a while, congratulations. We yet again chose another project that is winning out here, and we can see the same language that they're using here on this commercial with JP Morgan Chase is the same language they're using here with XDC, which allows me to know that we're dealing with one heck of a project. And so I went over to the Kinexys website by JP Morgan because everybody should do that. You shouldn't just skip over this. This is very important. Okay. And I went and looked. And so there was like a 1-minute video. Okay. And I wanted to play this quick clip real quick for you all just to hear what the the head guy over at Kinexys is talking about.
At Onyx, for nearly a decade, we've been at the forefront of blockchain innovation, shaping the future of financial infrastructure.
Oh, hold on. Might have a little bit of
Shaping the future of financial infrastructure.
Well, that video is not working. However, what we'll do is we'll scroll down and obviously we know what their vision is. It's to make them more, to be the beginning of all of this stuff, right? But there was something right here. JP Morgan and MIT, okay, y'all know MIT, Ivy League, Digital Currency Initiative, release a white paper entitled Application of Programmability to Commercial Banking and Payments, okay? And this is the article right here, okay? This is the article right here. It's a 29-page article in partnership of JP Morgan and MIT. In this article, it talks about programmability on blockchain networks. So we're talking about programming money, okay? We're talking about client side and bank side programmability. They talk about the overview of Kinexys digital payment and programmable payments. That's on page 12. We're going to go there. We're talking about application of bank programmability in Kinexys digital payments, right? So everything, again, every single part was about programmability. And we have to be very careful because this programmable money thing is very scary, but it's coming and we must know the enemy in order to be able to be successful. So as y'all can see, Kinexys digital payment is a blockchain-based demand deposit product offered by JP Morgan. We know who powers it. We know who's behind it, right? And this will allow for accounts to go 24/7 real time with more transfers completing in seconds. So the question is, how are they able to do this, right? Well, obviously they're going to have to position it throughout the cryptocurrency market. Okay, now talking about the digital payments, the blockchain components are built on Quorum, right? Quorum, an EVM compatible blockchain platform that conforms to the Enterprise Ethereum specification maintained by the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. So again, y'all, the Ethereum free pass is still rocking, right? We know that they built Onyx on the Ethereum blockchain. We know JP Morgan actually did that, right? But something that I want to do real quick, and just because I'm nosy and I like to do research, I'm about to go type in this word right here, Quorum. Okay, Quorum. Okay, and Quorum relationship to crypto. Let's just see if anything pops up, right? Let's just see if anything pops up. So this is Quorum right here. Oh, it's built on Ethereum. So it was built on Ethereum. I was trying to see if it was, if it was built anything, but this is a private blockchain network. So it's not even a public one. So this right here is not something that you can actually invest into with Quorum, but that's a private blockchain ledger. And the last thing that I wanted to share real quick is this right here, family. Okay, if y'all didn't know, Moonpay and Matercard have joined forces to enable stablecoin payments and spending at 150 million global businesses. The time is now for mass adoption. Pay attention.
Mastercard now teaming up with crypto startup Moonpay to enable stablecoin payments with Mastercard cards. This is a huge development in the world of stablecoins. Join us right now, first on CNBC from Toronto, is Moonpay's founder and CEO, Ivan Soto-Wright. Good morning to you. Just because some folks may not understand what this all means, break down the technology here. So Mastercard, well, I won't even do it. You do it, Ivan.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me again. It's great to be back on the show. From our perspective, we think stablecoins are a really big deal. It's actually quite personal for me. I'm half Venezuelan, and there are people all around the world that receive money from the United States. This is a new technology layer. Stablecoins are dollars on a blockchain. Anyone with an internet connection, anyone with a phone can receive money in the form of the US dollar at the speed of light, the speed of the internet. And from our perspective, we want to see this embedded everywhere. The next logical step for us was, okay, there's 120 million unique wallet addresses that have stablecoins, 30 million active users. How do we make that possible for them to spend those stablecoins? Logical next step was with Mastercard. They've been a phenomenal partner. We've been working with them over the past couple of years. Shout out to Michael and Sherry, the president over at Mastercard, to bring this to life. But we want to make this more accessible. Moonpay has been about building the backwards compatibility of the existing financial system. So this made a lot of sense.
I want you to sort of project out what the financial future looks like, because I sometimes don't think that the audience and all of us totally understand where this all goes, because it feels to me, once you get to a point where a MasterCard or the Visa network and everybody is in stablecoin land, actually sort of finance actually fundamentally changes.
For sure. I think cryptocurrency wallets are going to be embedded everywhere. It's ultimately a new internet native technology. If you think about the legacy system, we had all these financial systems in different parts of the world that didn't communicate with each other in a shared language. Blockchains are that shared language. Stablecoins sit on top of them. And so we think it's going to be a natural next step that every single financial institution recognizes its importance. And so that was part of the reason last time I came on the show, we acquired Iron, which was a developer platform to bring APIs, bring really simple to easy to use infrastructure for any business to embed stablecoins.
In terms of how, though, this fundamentally disrupts the banks or the traditional financial system, I mean, here you have MasterCard doing this. At some level, is this going to cannibalize any part of their business?
I think this is like a natural evolution. So we've seen technology leaps. This is the next technology leap. Everyone's going to recognize that internet native money movement. It just needed to happen. Like, the next generation, my generation, isn't going to put up with days and very costly expenses for moving money around. Traditional remittance providers would charge up to 6% if you wanted to move money from the United States to another country. You can do this at a fraction of a penny with a stablecoin. And so from our perspective, the best technology will ultimately win, and our job is to democratize it.
What about tracking money? So the government has an agency called FinCEN. People don't talk about it that often, but really does try to look for money movements that might be suspicious or nefarious or things like that. Once you move into this world, how regulated is it? How unregulated is it? And does it need to be policed?
Yeah, well, I think it's actually far safer on the blockchain. There's incredible companies, Chainalysis, Elliptic, a bunch of these blockchain analytic firms that enable you to track transactions on a blockchain. So I'd argue, there have been a lot of arguments around nefarious activity in crypto. It's actually a relatively small proportion. We're talking under 1%. And the reality is it's much easier to track down illicit activity over a blockchain than it is through the traditional financial system.
All right. So those are, the slides that I had to share with you all today. I really want you to think. I really want you to think. Now, a lot of this stuff is important for institutions. It's not as important for you, but the things that are important are the things at the end that we talked about, right? Moonpay and Matercard and being able to get a card. If you've ever used Moonpay before, if you've ever used it before, you guys know what that is. JP Morgan with their new digital, digital space. A lot of us have Chase bank accounts. I have a business and a regular bank account with Chase, right? Personally. So, I do business with Chase all the time, every single day. I'm moving money through Chase every single day. So I want you to really take the time to think about it. How is this stuff really changing your life? What is fluff and what is real and what is necessary for you to know? Not everything I talk about is necessary for us to know. And I realize that, right? But I do think it's necessary. All the stuff we talked about is necessary in the instance of you being able to keep yourself in the game, stay encouraged, stay inspired, and just love what you do, okay? I see that people are jumping off, today. So I'm not going to do any Q&A. I just want to say thank y'all so much for tapping in and tuning in to the show today. Hope that you learned something. And if you're in my Discord group, we will be meeting this evening. We should be meeting this evening. It probably will be a short call because I do plan to be at the Atlanta Blockchain Center tonight. They're going to be talking about some really dope stuff with smart contracts. So I'm really excited to go talk about smart contracts and the business side of this stuff so that I can better myself, so that I can continue to be out here. If you're in the Atlanta area, I recommend pulling up. It's completely worth it. But y'all have an amazing rest of your weekend. And if you're in our Discord group, I'll see y'all tonight for our sip and trade, which is our advanced trading session. Please be sure to be there on time, as we won't be the whole hour for this call. It'll probably be 10, 15, 20 minutes max. And then I got to get into the blockchain center for that event. So have an amazing one. And I will see y'all on the next show next week. Peace.